Interestingly, astrologically, the main configurations of planets are in exactly the configuration they were in during the American Revolution. Also the same during the Civil War and during the Reformation. The same planetary configurations are at play right now. So we are in yeasty times. We're in times that are not just about tumult, but they're about transformation. Because, you see, when systems break down, transformation's breaking out. And that's what we get to be a part of consciously. Consciously. The real question, and all of my esteemed colleagues have been articulating this so beautifully, the real question we put before you is, will we be distancing or deepening through all of this? You going to be distancing from it, running from it, or embracing it in a mature, powerful way? New Thought is being called into a higher maturity by no longer avoiding the dicey, the painful aspects of life, no longer avoiding the shadow aspects of life, but instead embracing them, because what you disown will eventually own you. And so as we embrace the shadow in our collective, facing it with heart, finding the gold in it, finding the light in it, we transmute it. It's the alchemical process that we all can express. And as we see what's going on, we also have the additional opportunity of working with ourselves, with our own shadow, of asking, where do I judge harshly? Where do I create gulfs of separation because people think or believe or behave differently than I am accustomed to? Where do I wish somebody were off the planet? Where do I harbor these thoughts and these feelings? And can this be an opportunity for me to move into a greater honesty and a greater healing process? And so what I want to offer you tonight is the heart path to dealing with these times in a way that deepens you and makes of you an instrument for peace and for love upon this planet. And it's really about foreseeing our better tomorrow, foreseeing the possibilities that are coming forth for us. And that actually involves 4 C's that I want to lay on you. They are all facets of heart. And I think we can use all of these as we deal with what's going on in this world of ours. And the first is compassion. The second is community. The third is commitment. And the fourth, celebration. Compassion, that beautiful aspect of a heart that loves no matter what. I've loved the definition of compassion, that it is understanding the lack of understanding. It's understanding that at times individuals don't have the wherewithal to know what they're doing, because I've been there. As I look back on my life, I see the times when I stumbled over myself and I did not know what I needed to know. And having the experience was a part of my coming into that awareness. Understanding the lack of understanding. And understanding that compassionately others don't know what they do. As the Christ said on the cross, forgive them, they know not what they do. When you're at a certain level of consciousness, you don't know what the higher consciousness offers, or you'd be there. And so we get to understand the lack of understanding. And in that compassion, we get to grieve as well. To not run away from our pain, but to grieve, but to also stand in that space of compassion. In our meetings today, I shared, just came to me about the process of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. And as the caterpillar begins to morph, these particular cells emerge called imaginal cells. And these imaginal cells hold the template for the higher being within the caterpillar. Now, these imaginal cells, however, find themselves being abused by and at war with the immune system of the caterpillar. The immune system attacks it. And how often it is that high voices have come up upon the planet speaking of a higher order of thought and consciousness, and they're attacked, they're vilified, and they're pulled down. But nonetheless, the process needs to unfold itself. Now, these imaginal cells are in a precarious situation, but what they do is they come together in groups. And they exchange genetic information in their coming together, which is why community, the second aspect of the heart, is so important. First, compassion, and then community, coming together as this group, using your spiritual home, sharing amongst one another, drawing upon the resources of your ministry and your practitioners and one another, and sharing. Community. The imaginal cells exchange that information. and they begin to energize. And then the scientists say that the caterpillar reaches an interesting place, and they call it critical unworkability. It is no longer workable to be a caterpillar. The caterpillar hasn't become what it's going to be, but it is at a space of critical unworkability. I would declare that the world is in a space of critical unworkability. Our economies are in a space of critical unworkability. Our social systems are in a space of critical unworkability, but that doesn't mean that hope is lost. They're in a space, in a process of transformation. And we can be a part of that. And so as that critical unworkability stage occurs, then eventually these imaginal cells, holding the high vision, get the upper hand. Their energy grows. And there's a surrender process where the caterpillar becomes a liquid inside the chrysalis. And there will be a time, a tipping point time, when higher consciousness dissolves the hate that has been so prevalent. But we have to stand in a place of acceptance, stand in a place of that high vision. And with that compassion, understand that the caterpillar doesn't know what it's doing when it wars against the new ideas. It doesn't know, so we get to understand the lack of understanding. We get to come together in community. And then there's that third one, so important, and that is commitment. To commit ourselves to practices. If there's anything in the science of mind or in New Thought itself that I think has slowed our progress, is that we at times trivialize our spiritual practices. We hold them as occasional or if time allows. But we're not in a time of that kind of privilege any longer. We are at a time where we're called to a higher level of maturity and thus discipline, spiritual devotion, and commitment. And again, your spiritual home offers you so many opportunities to take part in that and to commit yourself to this place. This place. This place has a seed of possibility in it. This ministry is so vibrant. Your leadership is so profound and so excellent. And to be a part of that, to bring your gifts to it, support it with your resources, your involvement, your love, your talent, your skill. That is what it is all about, because this is a place of high vibration and it's rippling out, not just into this area, but this man is a leader in our movement, and he takes your energy and your love and all that's yeasty here in this center, and he percolates it everywhere. And I'm here to tell you that all my colleagues would agree with that. So bring your heart and your commitment to this place and never stop celebrating. As you do all those things, as you explore compassion and its heart and the forgiveness that goes with that, the sense of community that can shelter you and hold you in the darkest of times. Remember that community is also where ceremony occurs. And when the darkest of things, like even a death occurs, people come together afterward and they feast and they have community, because that's what we need to do when we're in the dark spaces, with that sense of community. And then with our sense of commitment to be even stronger and more steadfast in our spiritual life and in what we're about and the way we speak day by day in our own interactions, the gifts we bring to the world around us, and then also to celebrate. Because it says in the Bible, rejoice evermore. Rejoice evermore. We must never let our joy be sacrificed amidst all of the travails that are going on. Of course we're troubled. Of course we grieve. And yet we also still have a joy that is undeniable. I write about that in my book, This Life is Joy, and I believe that the very essence of life itself is a joy that can never be put asunder. And I remember that the children of Israel, when they were sorely persecuted during the Babylonian captivity, they would slave all day, and they'd be so tired, but they would go down to the river. And in the reeds and the willows of the river, they had hidden musical instruments, lyres and harps. And they would take the lyres and the harps out, and amidst all the awful things going on, they would dance. We still need to dance. Do you have a harp in the willows in your life? If you're going through a tough time in your life, dance too. Do all of those things, but don't forget to dance. Because I tell you what, in the end, life is good. Let us never forget that. Let us spread that message. Life is good. Life is God. We are all brothers and sisters. We can remake life, and we can lift it up higher. That's our mission. You wouldn't be here. You would not have incarnated upon this planet if you hadn't signed up to be a part of these times. So let's go for it and make it work. What do you say? God bless you. Thank you.